All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Good evening and a warm welcome to all at MESC Red Devils NCR. This is Delvin, and today we are here in the midst of a very important timeline and a time space for the club. Uh, this is a time which could genuinely signify the start of a new era because the winds of change have been enveloping Old Trafford for quite some time now. If it wasn't evident, it is pretty evident now that it is a matter of when, not if, that the club will change hands as far as the ownership is concerned. And safe to say, things are happening, things are taking place as we speak. Uh, the acceleration of negotiations has increased, and we are genuinely going to see a new owner in the coming months or weeks. So just to give you a brief insight of the things that are happening currently, Man United have put their the Glazers put the club for sale somewhere around November, with the tagline being strategic alternatives to make sure that adequate investment is raised, which includes takeover, whether it is partial or whether it is full. Over the time, it announced that they're going to let Rain Group, the merchant bank, handle the responsibilities with the formalities regarding the takeover. And Rain Group duly made the club available. And so far, we've had two public bidders. I'm not sure whether there are any other bidders or no, but it does seem that there are two concrete bidders and are publicly making all the noises to become the next owners of the club. On one side, we have the Qatari 9-2 Foundation, headed by Sheikh Jassim bin Thani, who claims to be a hardcore Man United fan. And on the other hand, we have Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the petrochemicals billionaire from Ineos, who himself is a Manchester-born lad and is one of the wealthiest men in the United Kingdom. And these are the two interested bidders who've made their interest public and who put in their bids the first time of asking. So the second step gradually is the entry of the club, the potential buyers to look into the club accounts, hold discussions, hold meetings with the concerned authorities as far as Old Trafford and Manchester United is concerned, take a proper look into the accounts, take a proper look at the financial statement, the future plans, so on and so forth. And now we are in the crucial stage, which could very well be the end game of this long-awaited saga, which means that United has the owners have up until 9 p.m. UK time to put in the second bid, which means that I think it's somewhere around 3.5 hours more up until the deadline that either Sir Jim Ratcliffe or Sheikh Jassim can increase their bid if they want to. Now, there are a lot of contrasting reports going around. We have a lot of people in this on comments. Welcome so much. Kushagra says, finally, yes, it has been a long time coming. It's been long overdue. And hopefully we get a resolution quickly from here. I do think that a resolution is imminent and a resolution is quick. But let's see how it goes. Rohit Bhai says, has to be Qatar. Let's see, Rohit Bhai. All signs currently do point towards Qatar and Sheikh Jassim being the new owners. But time is of the essence, and only time will tell us which direction will the takeover go. Uh, Amit Bhai says, Qatar, we believe. All right, I think most of the people in the comment section are feeling Qatari today, and rightly so. I wouldn't be too amiss from the fact that even I'm beginning to feel a little Qatari from here on. But then it is what it is, and let's see how things go. But surely it's a very interesting time for United, not only as far as the takeover talks are concerned, but with performances on the field as well. We are in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. We are in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. We are very well set on third place in the Premier League as well. So all in all, it's been a very good season for us. Ten Hag has made sure that this team has been performing well ahead of schedule, and it seems everything is going well. We're finally looking at that team who are hungry to compete for trophies and not just content with sitting at third or fourth place. So Rohit Bhai says that I'm still worried that there are reports of Glazers that are still skeptical about selling. Uh, Road bhai, this is a natural concern. Obviously, I think even one of the sources called Sky Kave spoke about the fact that we cannot rule out the fact that Glazers could be in the club. But at this point, with the second bids coming, I think it is being rumored that both Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are more than happy to increase the bid, whereas reports suggested that the first bid of both parties was around £4.5 billion. The second round of bids sees Sir Jim Ratcliffe increase his bid to 5 billion, whereas Sheikh Jassim has increased his bid to about £5.5 billion, which are substantial increases from the previous amount. And these both are closer to the amount of what the Glazers do expect from the sale. Irrespective of who the bidder is, one thing is certain: the United takeover is going to be the most costliest takeover in the history of sport. Up until now, it was the Denver Broncos of the NFL who were taken over at a higher price. It stands at $4.5 billion. The United takeover will easily eclipse that with some room to spare as well. Uh, Glazers will not care about the backlash, yes, but then I don't think they'll let this much money slip away from their grasp. The fact remains that £5.5 billion is a huge amount of money. It is definitely a huge payday for them. They bought the club at around what £270 million in 2005, and with them earning around 5.5 billion more. I don't think they'd want to let this opportunity go. Dublin games on the screen. Hi Dublin, welcome on the stream. Hope you're doing good. We've had a lot of talk about who the prospective buyers are, but there are multiple sources who are putting forward cases for ownership for both sides, that is Sir Jim's side as well as Sheikh Jassim's side. However, if you see, a vast majority of the fan base is pretty injected towards Qatar. Financial injection from other sources. So Rohit Bhai, up until now, it seems that Elliott Investments have moved out. They are not in the running anymore, even in part of a minority investment. So as of now, what we know is that we have two parties. It could be more, not a lot of information apart from the other two that we already know. That is Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Elliott have officially been out of the race for a while now. Uh, and Kushagra, like I said, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to make sure that that the bid is going to be a £5 billion, and with Sheikh Jassim also increasing his bid to close to 5.5, it is going to be a bidding war. It is going to be a close tug of war, but we could expect something pretty concrete in the next 3 to 3.5 hours. Let's see how things pan up. Very interesting time. Very interesting time to be a Man United fan, guys. Let me tell you that. So speaking about the takeover, in fact, so Sheikh Jassim seems that he has all the cash available. The money is at the disposal. All it requires is the Glazer seal of approval. And as far as I'm reading on Twitter and multiple sources, uh, this is the last round of bids, so to say, Rohit Bhai. Yes, in all intents and purposes, uh, yes, it is the last round of bids in this stage at least. Yeah. So whoever is in this round now, as of now, I'm assuming that it's only Sir Jim and Sheikh Jassim. But if there are other bidders, they have up until 2:30 India time and 9 p.m. Britain time to put in their bids. So if it is, then yeah, this is the last round of bids, and everything else then will be taken into consideration from here on. It is what it is. So it is going to be a very interesting time, not only because the bids are increased, but also of the different contrasting the body language from both the sides. So when the Qatari delegation came in on Thursday, while Sheikh Jassim did not make an appearance, his closest advisors, his legal team, everyone did make an appearance, and they spent close to 10 hours negotiating, looking into the accounts, looking for the plans for the future, so on and so forth. They had a very good look at the books and so on and so forth. So it took around 10 hours for them, which was 7:30 England time, when their rounds of negotiations and discussions came to a close. And they were very positive. they were very excited and expectant of having another bid put in, because the feeling from Qatar is that they really want to get this done, and they are ready to overpay also. There was a report coming out that Sheikh Jassim was more than happy to overpay, because clubs like Man United are a once in a generation investment, and and clubs of such magnitude and clubs of such huge standing rarely come on sale uh, every time. So this is the best chance to make use of a promising situation, and it is what it is. And it feels like Qatar could be the front runners, because it seems like Sir Jim Ratcliffe in his recent statement also spoke about the fact that uh, there is a lot of conceit, lot of things taken into consideration while making a bid for the club, which sounds like a man who's all but given up hope of getting the bid done. Well, he could do everything there is to, and it was very interesting to note that he himself made an appearance in the takeover talks on Friday. Even Eric Ten Hag managed to meet him on Friday. Eric Ten Hag was not there during the Qatari delegation. Because we were in Spain. We had to play Betis that day, the Europa League round of 16 second leg. But Eric Ten Hag spoke about the fact that he met Sir Jim Ratcliffe, shook hands, but not much of a conversation took place between them, because the manager had a game to concentrate on. That was the game against Fulham. So that is why there wasn't much of a conversation apart from a casual handshake or a formal handshake, so to say. Uh, the difference was that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's delegation did not take a lot of time to speak about different things, due to the fact that they already have a vast amount of knowledge, a vast amount of know-how and expertise in how things work, since they own a couple of other clubs in the other leagues as well. The most prominent one being Nice, who have made the quarterfinals of the Conference League in Europe. So they did not have much. So that is why their rounds of negotiations ended in around 3.5 hours, compared to the 10 hours that it took for the Qatari delegation to speak about the negotiations. Now, there is a breakdown of the Qatari investment, which is there are a lot of grand ambitions for Qatar to, speak. And it seems that even the United Kingdom have been welcoming of Qatar's bid for Manchester United, which is, which is a very, very promising sign. If the higher ups are pretty welcoming of the fact that there is a bid coming in, and that it is for one of the biggest sporting institutions in the globe. With that being said, the Qataris have already highlighted grand plans and grand ambitions. They've broken the entire amount down to how it is going to be, how the money is going to be circulated. So the total amount that will be put into the club will be close to £8 billion, from which 1.5 to 1.5 billion is on 1.5 to 2 billion is somewhere around spending the money on signings and competent backroom staff, so on and so forth. Then the 5.5 billion will be for the outright buying of the club, and the rest of the money will be put into facilities, infrastructure, stadium revamp, and also about community well-being, and so on and so forth. So this was the breakdown, and there are also grand plans highlighted to how the Qataris will go ahead and revamp or rebuild the entire stadium. So the initial gossip around the stadium is that they would want to increase the capacity from the current 76,000 to 1 lakh, which would be one of the which would make Old Trafford one of the largest stadiums globally, and also help is being taken out from a lot of architectural design, so on and so forth. Now, how concrete this is remains to be seen, and it is also on the off chance whether Qatar do end up getting ownership of the club, or so on and so forth. But again, the fact still remains that we have some way to go before the situation is finally rectified, because there are a lot of contrasting reports making rounds, one source speaking something else, one source talking about something else. But whatever the common ground here is that the sale is going to happen sooner rather than later, and we are going to expect something very, very concrete by the end of the transfer deadline. sorry, not the transfer deadline, my bad. The deadline for the second round of the bidding and so on and so forth. So, coming to the things that we need to talk about, uh, so well, the question again comes is that are the Rain Group concerned? Because for a club such as United, with its magnitude, with its aura, with its gravitas that surrounds the global game, the fact that there have been only two bidders is a little bit of a concern. But again, the Rain Group optimistic about the fact that there is going to be a competition, and a competition will obviously increase the price, and that is what they want. They've already managed to get the price up for both the principal bidders who have been named, and the hope is that if there are any other bidders that we do not know of or who are lurking under behind the shadows and so on and so forth, uh, it remains to be seen how high are they willing to go in order to make sure that they are also considered to be front runners in getting the club as well. Now, the interesting thing here is that once again, Qatar ready to clear all the debt that is there, whereas Sir Jim Ratcliffe's delegation has still not been able to give a clear understanding of how are they going to clear the existing debt. Although they have promised that they will not be adding in any more debt into the club, but the principal matter of concern here is that they are not buying the entirety of the club. They're only buying the stake that the Glazers own in the club, that is 69% of the club. Whereas Sheikh Jassim is intent on buying the entire club outright, that is 100%, 69% of the Glazers' ownership and 31% of the smaller investors. Uh, the question is how the question remains that how the 31% will be bought out, or whether it will be bought out in a premium or so on and so forth. The steps to that are still unclear. There's not a lot of clarity on that subject yet. But then, as things go by, as things accelerate, as things progress, we will get a much clearer picture on how the minority shareholders will be compensated for the number of shares that they hold. So, financial injection, like I said, Elliott Investments not in the running anymore. Uh, Again, then it comes to the point of multi-club investments or multi-club projects. Now, it is very interesting that a lot of people, very interesting. I don't know whether it's a coincidence or not, but UEFA floated the idea of enabling multi-club owners to make sure that both their teams compete, which means that two clubs owned by the same entity can compete against each other in European competitions. Now, this news came around almost at the same time where the speed of United's prospective buyers being all more or less confirmed took a lot of wind and took a lot of pace. Now, whether this is a coincidence or whether this is a planned sequence of events is anyone's guess at this moment. But I don't think the announcement of multi-club entities being able to compete against each other was just a significant step to make sure that United is able to compete under the umbrella of multi-owner labels and so on and so forth. Now we all know that Sir Jim has another European club at his disposal in the form of Nice. We do know that Qatar Sports Investment is a major stakeholder of Paris Saint Germain. Now, although QIA is an entirely different authority from the QSI which owns PSG, uh, Qatar influence is still evident in UEFA with Nasser Al Khalifi, the owner of PSG, holding high positions in the UEFA segment currently. So, a lot of things to look into that as well. Now, let's talk a little bit about the further steps. I think there are a lot of people talking about it. Let's just see. Okay, so one of the Muppeteers has gone around and said that despite media speculation otherwise, it seems that both the bids will include clearing the debt. Now, this is a big revelation as far as uh, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid is concerned, because previously there was nothing to indicate that Jim Ratcliffe spoke about how is he going to clear the current debt that is there, or how is he going to reduce the debt load which is there in the current ownership of Man United. So both of these bids, which will be there, will have a provision to make sure that all debt that is there in the club will be cleared as soon as possible. Now, irrespective of whoever gets the ownership, this is a very, very promising sign, which means that the club will be debt free, the club will have no debt. So, that is a very, very reassuring and a positive step in the right direction. So, let's see how that goes. So, both of the ownership parties pretty confident that they can get a deal done at this point in time. I'd like to know people's opinions in the chat on, uh, who would they prefer? Now, all the people previously have spoken about the fact that they would be happy to have Qatari owners for United. Not a lot of support for Sir Jim Ratcliffe, irrespective of the fact that he's British born and bred or Manchester born and bred, so as to say. But then again, it depends. It's a very, very close call to see how things work out or how things are panning out. But let's talk about a situation where the Glazers could end up staying. Now, I know this is a very unpopular opinion, and it is going to be a death knell in the expectations of all United fans who are harboring hopes of a takeover or a buyout or whatever it is. But the Glazers could very well be will very well be tempted to stay on. Here's why. There've already been talks about they trying to buy out the rest of the siblings. Now there are six siblings in total, but Joel and Avram Glazer are the principal names or the proverbial faces that run the place, while the other four are not exactly active participants in the day-to-day handlings and operations of the club. Now they both are more than happy to buy out the rest of the siblings in, and with results taking an upturn, United already winning a trophy this season, and with potential Champions League place up for grabs, as well as the chance of winning another two trophies, the footballing project seems to be on the rise as well. United seem to be on the right track once again as far as footballing decisions are concerned, and with a proper overlaying football structure, we could finally see United go on the right path. And United could once again become a force to reckon with if they make the Champions League and so on and so forth. So this is a very, very enticing proposition for the Glazers to stay as well. So whether and that is where minority investments or minority stakes come in. But this is something that almost the entire fan base does not want, only because of the fact that we've had enough of money being squeezed out of us by these very owners. No regard for the club. The club has gone backwards. I think all of these things are pretty well known for the fan base in that sense of the matter. So, but this is a realistic and a very plausible scenario where we could very well see the Glazers stay. So Kushagra says will take Sir Jim, no issues. Yeah. So my 2 cents on this is pretty simple. As long as the owner has the best interest of the club at heart, the owner puts the club first. The owner understands that he's not going to get any returns from the clubs in the first 4 or 5 years, to be really precise. And he makes sure that all the decisions are taken in the best interest of the club to make sure that the club is performing well both on and off the field. I would not have any issues whoever the owner is, whether it is Sir Jim, whether it is the Qataris under Sheikh Jassim, or whether it is any other third party who wishes to take ownership of the club. As long as they're serious about making Manchester United a global force, both on and off the field once again, whoever becomes the owner is fine by me. I am also of the same opinion. But there should be a clear path, there should be a clear vision, there should be a clear ambition. We are There shouldn't be any incentive about the fact that we want to be a trophy where we only take out money and just make sure and just go down the proverbial Arsenal way, for example. For long, Arsenal were very content with getting the Champions League spot and being mediocre for vast stretches of the season. But now you see the Arsenal project taking full force. Money is being put into the club. They are unearthing good players. They are rightfully on the top of the table because their project has finally taken the image and the likeness that both the ownership as well as the manager wants. So this is something that we should aspire to do under new ownership as well. There should be a cohesive synergy between the managing staff, the recruitment board, and the top level ownership, where all three work in harmony to make sure that whatever decisions are taken in the best interest of the club. And that is the way that is how you get fans on board your project. You make sure that the club is put first, the fans will automatically back you. The fans have seen this club being turned to rubble in the past 2 decades or so. The fans have seen money being wasted on useless high name signings who've basically done jack shit towards the course of 2 decades for us. Uh, we have been horrible sellers in this point of time, inflated wages for players who have not performed, managers bought in with different ideologies to what they want to play. Players with different ideologies bought for different managers. You cannot have counter-attacking players for a manager who prefers a ball-playing style, and vice versa. You cannot have defensive players for a manager who prefers an attacking style of play, and vice versa. And that is exactly what has happened in under United ever since Sir Alex Ferguson has departed. Uh, we've had we've had a mess of players, and it's been a classic case of square pegs and round holes. So this is something that the new ownership will have to be very careful about, and also be careful about the fact that they do not waste money like we've done in the past. Having money is a good thing. Obviously, in today's day and age, football is money oriented, and if you have money, you can do whatever you want to. But we cannot go down the Galactico route or the PSG route. We have to make sure that money is spent wisely and only when it is required, and for the right players, of course. If it is not the right player, look for another alternative or look for another option which is a convenient one and which will suit the short to long term needs of the club as far as the player profile is concerned. But before that or until that, there is no point in wasting money, or else it is going to be a massive, massive issue somewhere down the line for us. Sorry for that. All right, so let's just have a look at the other sources, or what the other sources exactly are speaking about this impending takeover. Let's have a look at that. So, based on what I'm seeing, there are based on the current ownership scenarios, there are talks about who is going to be the marquee signings for each ownership. Now that's too early to call. That's way too early to call. However, the key areas of concern at this point in time for United are very, very obvious. It is very obvious that we need a bona fide number nine, irrespective of who the owner is. These are the issues that the owners have to rectify pronto, as soon as possible, on a priority level. We need a world class number nine. We need a goalkeeper, a backup goalkeeper, so as to say. We need we need a centre back. We need a number six. We need a number eight, and we also need a right back. So there are 6 or 7 positions that require rectifying over the course of 3 to 4 windows. You give us that, and automatically we become a squad that can compete for the highest honors year in and year out. And another thing is that we have been long term admirers of players with a win now mentality. Now that is not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination, but we cannot have a squad which has an excess of 29, 30, 31, 32-year old players. There has to be a right blend of youth and experience, and this squad closely resembles that. But then once again, we'll have to make sure that the players that are coming in through the door are younger, uh, with ample scope of development and quality players in their own right. So we need a young goalkeeper. Whoever is there should fit in the profile of being a young player, and with huge potential for huge upside for development. So that is something we definitely need, and the ownership will have to take cognizance of this matter to make sure that this is what it is, and we have to make sure that this is how the things go. Uh, Now, whether or not that is implemented also is another concern. But there are rumors that there could be a change in the director of football come this summer. and Edwin van der Sar is very keen to take over the position. And it is also seen that the Qataris are more than happy to bring Van der Sar on board to oversee the football side of things. It is said that Van der Sar is looking for a new challenge. His Ajax tenure over the years has been a resounding success, bringing in some of the best highly touted youngsters through the ranks, turning them into bona fide superstars, and then selling them for hefty prices, thus making a huge profit on them. So the expectation is that Van der Sar is looking for a new challenge, and Man United could just be the challenge that he requires. Let's see how it goes. Again, it is totally on the ownership to make sure that this is implemented and this is taken place for. So coming to the final thoughts about this whole situation, or the whole takeover thing. I think it is very promising that we are finally seeing a resolution to this. It has been a long time of limbo where it was the classic case of will they, won't they. There was a quintessential playing hard to get as well. So there were a lot of factors that came into play about the simple fact of that the Glazers were playing hardball. Both the potential buyers began to test the waters with their initial bids a bit, and now that they have the clearer picture, now that they have the full picture, it is now that things will finally take shape, or will finally be the jigsaw will finally come into place. Each piece of the puzzle will be put where it is, and once when the puzzle is completed, we will then have a clear and a much more robust understanding of what the current takeover scenario is, who has the higher odds, or who are the current favorites in the United sweepstakes, so as to say. So all in all, this is once again a very very great situation for us as fans. We finally be free from the tyranny of the Glazers, or the mediocrity of the Glazers. The Glazers will have a huge payday, which for them will arguably be the best business that they have done over the course of their business career, or so on and so forth. And also it is going to be good for the club, because the club is also being a club on the pitch has seen a massive upturn in form and fortune as well, under a manager who knows his stuff, who knows what he's doing. And give him a couple of good football people to run the show, and you'll once again see the good days return back to United. And that is what is required at this point of time. The feel good factor is there, the vibes are good, so as to speak, and everything points out towards the end of the old era and the start of the new. It is only a matter of time before the baton has been passed from the Glazers to the new owners, and it is very, very. I don't know. It's a very happy time for me personally, because I started following United from 2006, and the first half decade was a great one. I seen the club win the Champions League. We won the Premier Leagues. We won a host of other domestic trophies as well. But after Sir Alex walked into the sunset, it has been hard. Uh, we've had some bad days, and by bad days I mean those were disgusting days. What to say? I mean, for lack of a better word, uh, we were down in the dumps. But now, when you see the positivity, when you see the vibes, when you see everything going so good, you just want this to continue, and you hope that nothing bad happens from here on. And that is what my expectation is, and that is what my hope is. And with this takeover saga finally coming to an end, hopefully the new owners will be better. The new owners usher in a era of great prosperity, success, and competitiveness, so as to say. Just be competitive. That is what we want as fans. We've had years of our club being grossly incompetitive. We've just turned up for games expecting to win them just because we are Man United, and without putting any effort. And we've had our asses handed over to us. That is not something we want to go. We do not want to go back to those days. It's a dark story. It's a dark chapter in its own right. So overall, promising times. Let's see how it goes, and we'll be back again to discuss everything about it tomorrow, since we'll be having a much clearer picture after the deadline. Uh, all things said and done, do watch this space out. We are very very close to 2,000 subscribers, guys. Our aim is to reach the 2,000 mark before the end of this month. All of you guys have been tremendously supportive in our journey. You've been there for our streams day in day out at whatever time we've done it, and for that I wish for that it's a big thank you to all of you. So do smash that like button, guys. Do click on that subscribe button. Do notify. Do click on that bell icon so that you're notified for any and every video that we put up on our channel. Uh, like I said, this journey would not be possible without you guys. So share this video to as many Manchester United fans as possible so that they know about our existence and they know about these videos. And also because of the fact that YouTube Baba will notice the hard work that we've been putting, and the algorithm does its trick and we reach to as many United fans as possible. We do a wide range of content from FPL to 2 cents with Delvin, where I speak about day-to-day matters of the club. We put out live streams, we do previews, reviews, potential watch-alongs, so on and so forth. There are a lot of things that we do. So please do keep watching out for this space, and do join us in our journey. We are perpetually active on our social media on Instagram and on Twitter, so drop us a follow there. Uh, the link the username is right there for mescncr.red devils. It's our Twitter username as well, so you can go ahead and drop us a follow there as well. Uh, Apart from that, I say this on every stream, and I won't. And today is no different. Every day is match day on our official WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group link is in the description below. Do check that out and do join our ever growing family. We always have room for more. With that being said, thank you so much to all of y'all for tuning in to another episode. Uh, this is Delvin bidding all of you good night. Do take care of yourselves. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you on the other side. Till then, Glazes